Hi, hello, what's up? It's Hannah. I'm here to give you my list of the best books that I read in 2020. Perhaps you can take some of these as recommendations that you should read this year. I don't really know, it's up to you. These are the books that I really think you should read if you haven't read already. A lot of these have been released for like 2 to 3 years already. Some of them for much longer. I've got my list pulled up with all my books, so let's get on to my recommendations. In number 10, we have Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. This psychological thriller follows Jules Larson as she takes a new job as an apartment sitter in an upscale building in Manhattan. Her new neighbors are rich and famous, and her apartment is literally gorgeous, but the only catch is that things aren't exactly as they seem. Her new home is a lot more mysterious and dangerous than she thought. This book has really great world building, and because of that I was really sucked into the story. If you're looking for a great atmospheric thriller, this is definitely something that I think you should read. Coming in at number 9, we have Whisper Network by Chandler Baker. I think I've talked about this book before on my channel. I'm not really sure, I can't remember. Anyways, my Goodreads review described it as Big Little Lies in corporate America. I don't really think that I need to say anything else because that's literally what the book is. My favorite part was the gratification that came with the ending. The ending isn't that realistic, but I do think that it talks about some very important issues in corporate America, but it also has some flaws inside the text itself, like the depiction of Rosalita and a couple of the things that some of the women do and how the women treat one another. They're just a little sketchy. In number 8, we have Sharp Objects. Here we have another thriller with a female protagonist. Camille is a reporter as she returns to her hometown to uncover the mysterious circumstances surrounding a young girl's death a while back and another young girl's recent disappearance. Camille has a lot of problems of her own, and being near her mom again and the stepsister who is sort of isn't really doing her any favors. She basically needs to solve this mystery before she loses her sanity. There are a lot of trigger warnings here, like mental illness, self-harm, drugs. I would definitely add more, but I think some of them would be a spoiler. For me, the ending was a total mindfuck. It made me really just stop and be like, what in the world did I just read? But it was fun. It was exciting, really suspenseful. So it's on the list. At number 7, I put the entirety of the Demon Slayer mangas by Koyoharu Gotoge. You just have to. I know everybody talks about it, but you have to read this. The art is just gorgeous and the story is also wonderful. I honestly feel that each volume got better and better and better. There is a balance between softer scenes between Tanjiro, the main character, and his little sister Nezuko, and the really thrilling and exciting fight scenes. One thing that I absolutely enjoyed was the traditional clothing, especially in the anime. If you haven't watched the anime, you definitely should watch the anime as well. But it's just absolutely gorgeous. At number 6, we have All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. This book is really, really similar to The Fault in Our Stars. 2 teenagers meet by chance, but like, you know, in the end. This book made me cry so freaking hard. I think it's the only book on this list that made me cry, but it's only at 6th place because of the monstrosity that is the movie adaptation. I could roast that movie from here to eternity. Pretty much everything about it was just disastrous, except for the mom. I really liked the person who played Elle Fanning's character's mom. I think her name is like Kelly O'Hara. She's awesome. She's a 10 out of 10. Everything else is like, what are you doing, sis? At number 5, we have Trick Mirror by Gia Tolentino. This is a collection of 9 essays on topics ranging from femininity, internet culture, and religion. Each essay focuses on a cultural prism that influenced and shaped Tolentino's identity. I think that this is a pretty fun and interesting read. Even though some of the topics have been pretty like overdone, Tolentino brings her own perspective and she is really well researched. That is something that I really enjoyed, and her writing is easy to consume. In number 4, we have Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. If you have watched Paperback Dreams, you already know that this is like a great book. Radio Silence is a YA novel that deals with this coming of age story of Frances as she grapples with what she wants to do with her life in the future. She's at that point where she's ready to start applying to colleges, but she's starting to question her path that she sort of built for herself, and the more she does, the more she's jeopardizing the security that she's worked so hard to achieve. The book deals a lot with mental health, diversity, identity, your freedom of choice, and just adulthood. There are a couple of trigger warnings for this book, like mental illness and animal abuse, but personally, I loved this book so much because it was really, really relatable considering where I am in my life and where Frances is at, because I understand college app season, and I read this book as I was filling out my Common App, and it just hits different. I definitely recommend it to everyone, but especially those who are at a similar point in their life, like juniors and seniors in high school. In third place, we have Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. I know a lot of people read this book for school, like I did, but this was just too good to not mention. Set in the 30s in Florida, Their Eyes Were Watching God focuses on Janie Crawford as she goes through her life. We follow her through 3 marriages, and through that she struggles to sort of become her own person and become independent. This book talks a lot about femininity, race, skin color, and obviously independence. I do have to say that the dialogue in this book is sort of hard to understand without sounding it out, so I do recommend listening to the audiobook while you're also reading. Hurston definitely balances Black vernacular with more poetic and lyrical prose, and it's like very well constructed. There's lots of gorgeous imagery. Everything in this book is worth analyzing. It's worth taking your time to sit down and read and understand. In second place, we have With Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. This is another YA novel, but it follows a teen mom, Emily, as she juggles raising her daughter, school, her aspirations for the future, while also dealing with anxiety around change. The story was like really rich, exciting, and heartwarming, and I really just loved everything about this book, but most especially the food. The description of food is just on another level. I really love food, love eating, love cooking. One of my favorite genres of anime is food anime, so this is just like wonderful. Since a majority of this book is talking about cooking and giving out recipes, I was in for a really great treat. On top of this, Acevedo really handled parenting and race gracefully and integrated it pretty seamlessly into the book. I loved it, and I probably might even reread it this year if I can get my hands on it. I also listened to the audiobook, which was narrated by Elizabeth Acevedo as I read it, and I feel like that just added like another layer onto my reading experience. Here we are. First place, I have Citizen: An American Lyric by Claudia Rankine. This is another school book, but what can I say? All the books that my teacher chose just slap. They slap so hard. In this book, Rankine focuses on telling the story of Black Americans through poetry and art, and it's just a different reading experience that I've never really had before. This book just blew me away, but it was also a huge wake-up call. I read this before the pandemic and everything happened during the summer with Black Lives Matter and George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. There's a page in the book that I think is worth mentioning, where it's like a dedication to all the unarmed Black people that have been unjustly killed by police who haven't gotten the justice that they deserve. So it goes in memory of, and then it puts the name of the person. And I remember my teacher showing us the different editions and how the list has just grown and grown and grown, and it's really sombering. So I think that if you take any book from this list and you decide to read it, I really think that it has to be this one, especially considering the state of the world right now. As I film this, people are storming the Capitol building and fighting with police officers. I think this book is very timely and just absolutely necessary to read. Everything in this book can be analyzed, even down to the paper that it is printed on. It's so well written, so well thought out. It has a very lyrical quality to it, obviously because it is poetry, but it's a really great book. It's not even that long. These were my top 10 books of the year in 2020. It totals to 3 contemporary YA novels, 2 thrillers, 1 adult fiction novel, 1 classic, 1 collection of essay, 1 manga series, and 1 poetry collection. I think this is a pretty good spread. I do say so myself. I hope you find something here that you want to try out, and just leave me some of your favorite books from 2020 that you want me to check out this year in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys stay safe, stay fresh, and I'll catch you next time.